Hello, hello. Welcome back, me. Sort of me. If you can't tell, why would you be able to? I actually restarted, deleted my old character, and then remade another one with my face slightly better. Because, as you can probably tell from my completely anal retentive character creation video that I was doing, I'm anal retentive. So as a result, I decided to go in and try to make myself look a little bit more accurate to me. Didn't quite have the beard that I wanted, but actually giving myself stubble as opposed to the big caveman beards that this game offers is a little bit more accurate. Also, a few things to note. I've tried to optimize the game a little bit. They haven't really released any patches for PC exactly, but maybe the settings will be a little bit more not crackling ass, and we won't have quite as many drops as we did before. Maybe. Also, this guy over here at one point said that he hoped that we would die in a ditch in the network test. Just thought I would mention that. He might say it again later, I don't know. But, worth mentioning. Also, let's quit the game. What the fuck is he doing? Well, the fuck I'm doing is, actually, I recall that there were a couple things in the character creation that I did not cover. That's right, we're going to go all the way back to the past, to the games that shitty suck game. That's right. It's not actually that much. We won't be here very long. Okay, it doesn't actually matter. I think there may be like one thing on this screen that I forgot about. Probably not. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay. First off, Origin actually does have a little bit of details inside of it. So, like, I don't get that. For some reason, they won't tell you any information on the screen where you pick it, but if you go into the Origin here, it does. And I completely forgot about it. I'm drinking this sparkling ice brand Cherry Limeade. Not too bad. Could be better. Alright, Vagabond. A knight exiled from their homeland to wander. A solid armor-clad origin. So these should be fairly vague. Warrior. A nomad warrior who fights wielding two blades at once. An origin of exceptional technique. So, probably the thing that we'll notice consistently across all these is that they're going to be both vague and there's going to be a lot of wandering. A stalwart hero at home with a battle axe descended from a Badlands chieftain. It always struck me as odd in these FromSoft games how they will give you a little bit of backstory, even if you didn't ask for it. A dangerous bandit who strikes for weak points, excels at ranged combat with bows. So that's almost like exclusively gameplay related. Astrologer. A scholar who reads fate in the stars. Heir to the school of Glenstone sorcery. Now, I've been playing this game on another character. And the concept of Glenstone does come up. On the other character, I've not been really paying any attention at all to item descriptions, except for like once or twice. Because that's not the... that's the purpose of this playthrough, so I've been ignoring them. So I have no idea what the hell that means. I'm... Usually with FromSoft games, whenever we go into sorcery, backstory, like lore, is always just... There's a school somewhere, everyone's obsessed with the school, all the lore is about how the school is cool, and there's like a dragon or something, and they all hang out together, and they all kiss and make out, and they swap spit because they're so great at being sorcerers. And that seems to be the case here. Because anytime that I've run into a sorcerer, they're just like, oh, the school where we learn stupid nerd spells, and then they kiss. And that happens every time. Alright, Prophet. A seer ostracized for inauspicious prophecies, well-versed in healing incantations. So it's weird that a prophet in this setting seems to be more oriented around you being a crazy person. You know, as evidenced by the fact that you have apparently escaped from, what are those called? A pillbox? I can't remember. And also you have a blanket chain on your leg. That's cool. So, not exactly lore, but still pretty rad. Samurai. Now, of course, this is a Japanese game, even though no other culture has, like, such an overt Yea, my nation specifically, lore that's just in the world, in this fictional setting. Fictional? Samurai gets in. Good old samurai. Good old guy wearing wood. A capable fighter from the distant land of reeds. That's Japan. Land of reeds is actually Japan. Handy with a katana and longbows. Several longbows, not just one longbow. All of them. So he can shoot two. Have you ever wondered what someone shooting two longbows at the same time would look like? Well, now you can, because there are characters with 4 limbs in this game for whatever reason, but we'll get to that. Prisoner. A prisoner bound in an iron mask, because he's been naughty, perhaps? Or perhaps because he wants to, I don't know. Studied in glintstone sorcery. Ooh, oh boy! What's there to learn about that? Nothing? Alright. And you see that hole right there? See that hole? That's for kissing. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm sorry. Having lived among the elite prior to sentencing. So the elite are usually sorcerers. That seems to be the running theme. Confessor, a church spy adept at covert operations. So Miyazaki loves the idea that the church is up to no good. In every single game that he's ever done, there's always a church of some sort, and the church is always up to some shit that it shouldn't be doing. Equally adept with the sword as they are with their incantations. I'm good with a blade, but I'm also good with the... I was gonna think of something that rhymes with blade, but there's not. By the way, on this guy, like, look at his loincloth. Doesn't it sort of look like there's, like, the tiny imprint of, like, a chicken, like, claw? You guys probably can't see. I won't zoom in. I'm too lazy. I won't zoom in with my video editing skills that I don't have, which is another thing I need to talk about. But it sort of looks like a chicken stepped on his groin. It, like, gave him a little squeeze, and he's like, And that's the reason why he's a wretch today. That's why he has no clothes. A poor, purposeless sod. Naked as the day they were born. Did he come out with a loincloth? How'd she make that in there? Maybe she slid it in and the baby put it on before he came out. You know, just to be cool. Something very cute about this. A nice club is all they have. You know what? That is a nice club. Good for you, wretch. Thank you. Okay. One more thing. I guess I'll show my little head here. Facing head. See, there's my head. The only thing that I don't think is accurate about this is, there's sort of an indent... You know how the brow and the forehead are like one big forebrow area, right? And then there's the side of the head. You see how there's like a little bitty indentation there? Where your brow sort of like curves in a little bit. Mine doesn't really do that in real life, but there's no way for me to control it in this editor. But otherwise, this does look kind of creepily sort of like me. Like, very closely. I tried to get it as close as I possibly could. So that the character creator in this is probably the best they've ever done, which isn't saying much, but, you know, props where props are due. Pretty nice. Oh, where's a good place to show this off? Someone told me this, I didn't know if it was actually true. So you can pick from these swatches, right? If you press the top button, which would be triangle or Y in this case, you get a full RGB spectrum to choose from. So if you've seen any horrible abominations in game of like people with green skin and shit, this is how they were doing it. But that's it. That's all I wanted to show off. There's probably like one more thing I didn't. Let me actually see if there's any. No, okay. Alright. That's it. We can go back to playing the video game now if we must. This is my good boy, Caiaphas. Caiaphas is actually a character from the universe that I used to do back in the day. He is a preacher that wears nice clothing from like the 1920s. And he serves a god that is intent on consuming all life until all is one and all can be saved. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that the first two parts of the LP are up, Part 0 and Part 1. Those were a nightmare to get out, and I had to render them at least 10 times, maybe more. And I had to... Oh yeah, I don't have a horse yet. And I had to do that. I absolutely had to do that. Yes, okay. Because of the fact that I... Stop. Gather my thoughts. The reason why I had to stop in place so much is because whenever I'm doing two things at once, I can't. Also, the moon in this setting is fucking enormous. And it doesn't have a crater where Saitama planted himself into it. I had to render about 10 or something times, because for some reason HitFilm absolutely refused to render the video correctly and leave the last 5 seconds of the audio intact. So I had this nice intro and outro music. Originally I had 2 different tracks, but I decided to just use the same one after all the editing. It would start playing it for like a split second and then just stop. And apparently that has something to do with, and here we're experiencing some slowdowns, that has something to do with the fact that HitFilm has this bug associated with it whenever... Oh, goodness. Has this bug associated with it. Okay. I'll just let you go, because I'm so nice. HitFilm has this bug associated with it that if your audio is not... If your audio frequencies or whatever are not matching, then it freaks the fuck out, and it doesn't know what to do. And it causes that, specifically. Oh, that's nice. 2 drops. So originally I did have... Don't. You didn't see me. No. No, don't come investigate. You saw nothing. He saw nothing. And you will continue to see nothing. Lots of slowdowns. In the, ooh, poopy. In the last part, Part 1, I noticed at the very end, whenever I was doing my little ring thing, I was getting a lot of slowdown. I didn't actually see that slowdown in-game. That was from Bandicam. So, even though the game is lagging in places, it's not supposed to be that bad. But I am seeing a lot of frame drops. Like right now it's running at 47, 45, 48. Looking straight at the ground, I'll get 60. If I start whipping my camera around, it will drop pretty considerably. So it's going to be a while before the PC version gets optimized, if ever. You would assume since this is such a big game, it would reflect very poorly on them if they never went back and tried to fix things. Okay, but anyways. So in the process of doing all these renders, I originally recorded my dialogue, this commentary track, in like 44.1K or whatever the hell it is. And I'm recording in 48 now to avoid this problem. Also, there is stealth in this game, remember? And I converted those tracks to 48K to seemingly fix this problem. It didn't fix the problem. No matter what I did, it would always throw a giant tantrum about the fact that something was wrong with the audio, and it would always fuck up the rendering. So eventually I got sick of that, and decided to instead download DaVinci something or other. DaVinci, like, Requiem or some weird-ass. It starts with an R, whatever it is, I don't care. But I downloaded that thing. And it's fine. Although it has its own problems. Take that pig! I'm sorry. Not really. Kinda ugly. You don't have to feel pity for things if they're ugly. That's why no one ever feels pity for me. Aww. I'm sorry. But I wanted to briefly share that... Hello. Random deer. Oh, one finally saw me. Oh. Ooh, that's a nice one. I've never seen that animation. I got so used to using a filthy katana on my other character, which I don't want to use, but I can't find any like weapons that I prefer using in comparison. But in the process of all this, I discovered that there's this one part where I was trying to fast forward, and I think, yeah, part 0 in the character creation. And no matter what I did in this Da Vinci program, it would never want to behave itself. I would... Let's see how to describe this. There's the video track with its own audio, and then there's my commentary track which is another set of audio. If you tell it to speed up a section that you have clipped, you know, to fast forward it, it will do so. But it will just shorten it without actually speeding it up. So it'll take like a 10-second clip and turn it into like a 1-second clip, and then you'll get 1 second of normal playthrough, and then it'll just stop what it's doing. So you have to do something called rippling the audio, which I've noticed that all these little video editing suites, they always have their own cute little terms for the basic functionality that they all have, and it's kind of irritating, honestly, because it makes it really difficult to figure out how the hell anything works in them. But anyways, if you ripple the tracks, the editing, then it will actually... How dare you? Then it will actually do so. It will actually speed up the track, or slow it down, or whatever. And there's actually other ways of speeding up and slowing down the tracks. And by the way, if you can't tell, I'm going over to this little specific bonfire, or whatever they're called, points of grace. People are just going to call them bonfires. Why would you call them a point of grace? Hey guys, have you found all the points of grace yet? No, we're going to call them bonfires. Touch grace. And even though you can touch the thing, you actually have to sit down at it to get the progress you so devastatingly require. But just to finish off this, I discovered that if I sped up the track and fast-forwarded the video, it would fast-forward the audio, but it wouldn't fast-forward the commentary audio. It would just end up shortening that one. So even if I like took that audio and put it at the very end of the track and then tried to do it, it would still for some reason go all the way back to the unrelated audio and video portions of the file that I recorded and shorten those for no reason. So, this point being, this Da Vinci program doesn't know what the fuck it's doing most of the time. And apparently it's some major oversight in the program that people have been asking to fix for years, and they just never have bothered. So, point being, these videos are going to be as simple, like simply edited as I possibly can get away with. Because, boy howdy, I lost my mind doing nothing for the past 48, past hours, but trying to figure out new editing solutions to problems that I shouldn't be having. Okay, this will enable me to finally be able to level up, because we meet Lady, whose name I can't remember. I think it starts with an M. Ah, Ghost! Your character is totally nonplussed by this. How are ye?
Greetings, traveller from beyond the fog.
She has a cute mouth.
I am Melina.
This sounded kind of suspicious. Her name's Melina, not Molva. It's important to remember.
offer you an accord.
What happened to your eye? Oh, maybe I shouldn't have asked that. It seemed kind of rude, actually, in hindsight.
Have you heard of the Finger Maidens?
Boy, oh, like a group?
They serve the Two Fingers, offering guidance and aid to the tarnished.
Okay.
But you, I am afraid, are maidenless.
Who told you that?
I can play the role of maiden.
Fucking
Turn
lion
your
lady over
wounds
here.
into strength to aid you in your search for the Elden Ring. You need only take me with you
Like in my pocket?
to the foot of the Erd Tree.
Okay. I actually have no idea what happens if you refuse. It'd be funny if you could just play the whole the whole game without Mulva over here. Malfina. I'm going to have a hard time remembering names. I really, really need to try to focus and remember these things. Because again, in the Dark Souls playthrough, I knew all this stuff for the most part, so it was kind of easy to take in. In this game, I know nothing, so it's really difficult for me to remember like location names and NPC names. I remember their faces for the most part and what they do, but that is it. Melfina. Okay. I wanted to point out, it's kind of interesting that she said, have you heard of the Finger Maidens? As though she isn't part of them. Like, she's not actually a Finger Maiden. That's the way that she phrased it. I might be wrong, but it made it sound as though she's not actually part of whatever group that is. Because she said that she would take the role. As though she's not actually one herself, but she can imitate it. So, what's going on with her? I don't actually know.
Summon me by grace to turn runes into strength. Ah, another matter.
What the fuck are runes?
I bequeath to you this ring.
Now, she says ring, but it's not like a ring slot ring. It's just... It's a whistle that's a ring somehow. I mean, you can turn a blade of grass into a whistle. You ever do that? Like, take a blade of grass, rip one out, and like hold it up to your mouth and blow. And you get kind of this sort of thing. And it kind of tickles your lips, and you go, tee-hee. And, yeah, that. So, yeah, sure, why not?
Use it to traverse great distances.
Tell me what to do.
It will summon a spectral steed named Torrent.
Qubit Torrent.
Torrent has chosen you. Treat him with respect.
Spoiler, I will not be treating him with respect. I'll be taking him into battle, and then he'll get knocked off, and I'll blame him. And then sometimes I'll try to do a jump and then die, and then I will blame him as well. To appease my own ego. And also to make you, the commenter, believe that in fact it was the controls that did the bad thing and not me. That's exactly what will happen. Alright, lady.
Let my hand rest upon you. For but a moment.
You're pretty far away.
Share them with me. Your thoughts, your ambitions, the principles you would follow.
Okay. Share with me your ambitions, the principles you would follow. It almost makes it sound as though she's either looking into you, like your soul, the way that you think, or you're telling her something, and then she's increasing your physical attributes to reflect the thing that you desire it to be. Which is an interesting way of doing that, because I'm not sure if your physical body in this place is actually your body or not. It could be that you're some sort of weird... I hate to describe it this way, but almost as though you're some sort of weird tulpa creature, in the sense that you are conceptualizing who you are, and then that's who you are. Because I know later, I still don't know how to do this, but you can get the ability to change your physical appearance as well, and it could be that has the same logic, the rationalization. that you are sort of in this location, but you're not. I don't know how to describe it otherwise. Also, what this location even is, I have no idea. Now I touch your hand. Aw, we're holding hands. How nice. Will you be my girlfriend? Alright. So, I guess I'll talk about that a bit. The first time that I saw this on my other character, which, by the way, that was a good idea, because even though it would be nice if I could just raw react to everything, but this game is so vast and so open that it is almost impossible for me to do that. And so many things actually don't have any significance at all. Like, they're just supposed to be generic assets. And, well, I'll get more into that later. But I wanted to briefly discuss what kind of build that I'm going to be going for. I decided to just go with whatever the class was that I started the game with, you know, exactly, as we opened up. But I was trying to search for solutions on showcasing as many possible things as I could. And part of the problem is that enemies don't like to drop their gear. It took me a long time on my character that has 7 Arcane to be able to finally farm out the complete set of some of the knight armor of the knights that are actually right behind me. So having some Arcane is something that I wanted. I briefly considered the idea of doing an Arcane build, and this is where the wiki becomes very useful. There are 2 stats that actually scale with Arcane. One is Blood, and the other is Occult. Technically, Poison does as well, but there's really no point in using Poison since you could just throw, like, 5 poison knives at something, and then you're done. Of those 2 things, Occult and Blood, those only, as far as I know, as far as has been discovered, they only have 3 each. Ashen Arts. And those are the things that control your scaling. So if, like, for example, the Lucerne is in this game, so one of the first things that I want to do is actually go pick that up, and it is just lying in the world. And today's going to be quite the adventure. You don't know it yet, but it's going to be a crazy ride. So I want to be able to put something on that weapon that will scale with whatever it is that I'm going to be doing. And I considered dumping everything into Arcane. However, the problem with doing that is that those 3 arts are the only thing I'm going to be able to, you know, try. And you can only use arts with specific weapons, not every single one of them. And they can only be used on polearms, swords, and I think one of them technically can be used on anything that has a piercing component. So I don't know if that can be used on something like a war pick, for example, which technically is a hammer, but it does have thrusting damage. And that's a bleed one, the one where you, like, shove it in your own gut. Because, you know, Dark Souls. It's one of those Dark Souls things. So, to that end, I decided maybe going with a purely Arcane build is not the best idea, because I also want to be able to play with all the other different arts. But this is definitely a sort of FromSoft problem. It is probably the best that it's ever been, but it's still not great, which has been the theme of several games lately, including Pokemon Arceus. It has that same sort of deal, where it's the best it's ever been, but it is still trash fire. This game, it's the best it's ever been. It's not a trash fire, but, you know, it's got some issues here and there. So my current idea is going 15 Vigor, 15 Mind, 15 Endurance, 20 Strength, 20 Dex, leave Intelligence as it is. One of the other classes actually could have started with 7, so I could have saved like 2 levels doing this, but I guess it's not a big deal. What was it? 15 Faith and 17 Arcane. 17 will allow us to use every single spell that I know of that exists right now And I haven't really paid any attention to what they do, so it'll still be a surprise to me. But I do know that the highest requirement so far that's been discovered has been a 17. But this will increase my item discovery, which to me is pretty important in being able to showcase as many things as possible. That's one of the things I've been concerned about. There are items that actually raise your discovery, but there's only one that I know of. Pickled, like a pickled crow's feet, or like some weird thing like that. Pickled silver or bird talon. It's something like that. So, I don't know if it's actually going to work out. But you can see here that just raising Arcane once from 7 to 8 is giving us 2 additional discovery. And according to people that have invested in this, it does make quite a substantial difference. So I think what I'm going to do is get this up probably to 10. Then after that, we'll start working on strength and dexterity. And eventually what I think will happen is, once I get to that point, I'll probably be like at level 50 or 60 or something. At that point, I'll probably start pumping strength priority, get vigor, and maybe endurance up, especially vigor. Having a lot of health is important. But mainly focus on going for more of a either quality focus or heavy focus. I don't know yet. That will depend. But there we are. I just tried to explain this as best as I could. Now, thankfully, Melfina here does not show up every single time, because whenever I first did this and she started talking, I instantly got worried that they were going to pull another Demon Souls, another Dark Souls 3, another Dark Souls 2, because they just can't seem to learn their lesson about that. They always want to have someone running their fucking mouth whenever you're trying to concentrate on something, because it's just so cute. Love waifus, you like them, right? It's kind of annoying. I don't like them personally. But she is okay, because you know what she does? She leaves. And she does come back, but only in specific moments. So this is probably the best it has been since 1. Because you're getting the best of both worlds. Bonfires are places where you level up. You are left completely alone, but you still get her on very rare occasions. Which is nice. And then she stands up with you, and she turns back to a ghost! Oh my god! Turns into a ghost. Okay. Horseback riding. Use spectral steed whistle to summon and ride your spectral steed. Blah, blah, blah. It'll cost you 1... This doesn't really come up too much. If it dies in combat, you can bring it back in combat, but it requires you using up a flask. But if you're out of combat, I think it just comes back regardless. Alright. Yes, I know. Alright, so first thing to do, put that right down here. I like having it down here. And this is usually where I put my hello thing that I'm going to get. And this, I forget what the hell this is on my other character. It doesn't really matter. But the other ones are probably going to be something else. I can't remember. Alright. Great start. Can't remember. Alright. Now, I wanted to demonstrate. One of the first things that I learned about playing this game is that the controls are absolutely a nightmare. I forget what the default controls even were anymore. But one of them was, you probably noticed me in combat accidentally sneaking all the time. Which a lot of people have also been complaining about, because sneak on default is pressing in the stick. I've changed it to be the Y button. And I've changed the interact button to be the A button. And you can see where this is going. As a result, the only thing that's actually on my stick right now is the jump button. Also, wow, frame drops. One day it will be good. One day. Yeah. Go ahead and open this since it's right here. Alright, we won't be using this. Okay. So, if you notice me jumping in combat, especially whenever I'm trying to get away from something, because this happens all the time, like you have to do this, like hold back and like roll away really fast, it is very common for me to do that and do just that. No roll comes out because I press the stick in a little too hard, and that causes a jump to come out, and that gets me killed constantly. It is extremely irritating. Alright, so now that we have our good boy, there are a number of things I want to do. Okay. Now, let's see if I can make any sense out of this. Oh yeah, you can't zoom out quite as much right now. Actually, there's one more thing I need to do before all this. I need to go to the church over here, because that will enable me to do, like, craft armaments and other such horse shit and shenanigery. And then after that, I can proceed with my crazy idea that probably won't work. By the way, see this bat has glowing eyes? Enemies will randomly spawn that give you increased rune drops. That's what that is, if you ever wondered. And I've actually seen owls appear with that as well. But we don't hurt owls because owls are dog. So we don't do that. They are to be protected and loved and cherished. But of course, we're going to circumvent the boss. We're going to be doing a lot of circumventing. This playthrough is going to be either incredibly boring or just absolutely batshit crazy. Fast travel? We sure can. Okay. Strengthening armaments. Smithing him, you spend runes and smithing stones to strengthen your armaments. Somewhere in the land between you meet a blacksmith can make your armaments even stronger. We sure will, sort of. Smithing stone. Alright. So here, we can strengthen armaments. Items or runes. I've never seen this. It'd be funny if you actually got this if you were short on runes, but we don't have a Art of War yet, so we can't do anything either way. Or sorry, not Art of War. We don't have the number of stones required. So yeah, I guess you could just get this whenever. Excuse me. All right. How do you like his back scratcher, by the way? But I'm coming here because
You're tarnished. I can see it.
You sure can, buddy.
But I can also see
We need binoculars.
that you're not after my throat. Then why not purchase a little something? I am Kale, purveyor of fine goods.
So this guy actually gets his own little dialogue, and he also gets a name. Guys like this are all over the world. And this is one of the things I love about these dudes in particular. They all have their own distinct personality. Even if they only have like 2 or so lines of dialogue, they all have their own approaches to how they get around and how they survive. Some of them don't trust you. Some of them are really sure of themselves. Some of them are really despondent and down on their luck. It just depends. So, this is a nice little thing that we get about all of them. We'll talk to him first, though. People called him Santa in the network test because he looks like Santa. We're very clever people, aren't we?
I'm selling wares as I travel. The land has been tainted by madness since the shattering of the Elden Ring. It's only tarnished like yourself, who keep things from drying up entirely. Let's say you're a very welcome customer.
So whoever these people are, and I don't know, remember, I don't know anything about this. Whatever people these merchants belong to, they are somehow excluded from the badness that has happened from the shattering of the Elden Ring, whatever the Elden Ring is, whatever this land is, I don't know. But at some point prior to that, they were still mistreated in some fashion. So for them, supposedly almost nothing has changed. But their clientele has changed, because apparently now only Tarnished really are, you know, the ones that are reliable customers to them. Because supposedly Tarnished, if I remember correctly from the opening, are supposed to be dead people that are still alive in some capacity for some reason that was not explained. But we've been brought back to life or given bodies so that we can follow this light, like the grace, like this light that's flowing. So we can follow it and be guided to accomplish things of an ambiguous nature. So, Santa. Kale. Alright, I need this. Damn you. I'm gonna need a lot of runes. Maybe I can sell like one thing. Yeah, okay. Also, instead of popping these, you can just sell them. Which is something that I think they added in Dark Souls 3, which I always liked. Although I'm gonna need all this stuff, so I'm actually gonna have to stick around and... I'm gonna have to stick around and do this. But I guess I can do that in a bit.
Goodbye. Nice to do business.
Priorities, though. Priorities. Because... I guess I can put this in the top slot for now. Because I really need this for LP purposes. There we are. See, isn't that much better? Now see how he's adorned with all sorts of little bitty gems? And he has all sorts of little neat little frocks. He reminds me of, oh, what's his name? Wow, Dark Souls 1. Well, I'll remember it in about 5 minutes, but anyways. Not Oswald, you stupid fucking brain. Anyways, unfortunately you can't move whenever you're doing this. But he's like an itinerant merchant in that sense. Now, Domhnall. Domhnall in Dark Souls 1 had the subtext that he was a grave robber. Like, he wasn't an evil man necessarily, but he was just straight up just a businessman. And that's the thing that he cared about, is making, not necessarily making money, but he liked having a collection. And even whenever you killed him, his final words were, "Oh no, like, my things." Like, that's the only thing he cared about. And he viewed everything from that lens. So there might be some sort of subtext similar with this guy. That the reason why he seems so decked out is because he's, you know, a successful merchant in the sense that he might be collecting things in ways that he's not supposed to. Which, from my vague memories of the other guys like this I've run into, some of them do say that, essentially. Oops, sorry. I was trying to remember how to get out of that without actually attacking him or something accidentally. Okay. But he's got his little banjo down there. It's definitely a banjo and nothing else. Now, what this actually is, I'm sure this is probably some very specifically Eastern instrument that I don't know. But it does seem to be a musical instrument, I think. But it also is, like, attached to something. So what the behavior of this is, I'm not really certain. It does look pretty interesting, no matter what it is. And the thing that he's holding here, that has what looks like a back scratcher on the end of it. I wonder how you get out of that without actually... Okay, I can just double press. I can use the input twice. Alright, good. This thing that looks like a back scratcher, that appears to have a hilt. And actually, hold on. Get a better view of this. You guys like this type of LP format? Yeah, of course you do. Hey there, Eli from the future here. I'm actually doing a little bit of post-recording to let you guys know that in the midst of me rambling about whatever the hell this thing actually was, I have some additional information. That additional information was that after I got done recording part 3, which this is part 2, yes, I recorded them in the same session, I actually encountered another one of these little merchant guys, and he was actually using the thing that you're seeing now, to actually play this instrument, as though it was a violin. So I'm getting the suspicion that it's not actually some sort of reference, but it is a completely fictitious instrument, and the little bitty thing on the underside that looks like it's supposed to be a stick is actually the world's thickest catgut, I guess. Because it's actually imitating, let's see, the bow of a violin. And I believe that the actual catgut part which may not be catgut, I don't know, is usually referred to as being the hair, which would probably mean that the little bitty wheelie bit down there at the bottom is probably referred to as the frog, which I guess is what they call the little bit that holds the catgut on the bottom of a violin bow. The more you know, I guess. And that's all the information I have for you. Hope you have a great day. Take it away, past Eli, you dunce. It's always worth to learn things, you know? But yeah, he's an interesting guy. They all dress the same and carry the same exact things. They have different colors, though. Like, he looks like Santa Claus. And he has his Santa Claus colored mule. But they all have, like, different garbs and whatnot. Also, since we're here, let's write a message. A very important message. It takes a while to make these, usually, though. Let's see. Probably enemy. There we go. That's better. Now everyone can know that he's a good boy. Alright. Now if I remember correctly, a lady is supposed to appear here, but I think it involves actually returning to this location. So I'm going to quit and then reload. And if she's here, then she's here. If she is not, then she is not. Because one of the first things that we're going to be doing today is not doing any random content. It's actually going to be going absolutely apeshit. She's not here. Actually, hold on. Don't. Calm down, both Bandicam and video game. See if she appears during nightfall. Nope, still not there. I was hoping that she would be. What if I go here, then come back? But anyways, what we're going to be doing today is actually trying to traverse the entire goddamn planet and try to map out as much of the area as we possibly can. You might be saying to yourself, Eli, Plague, my king. There she is.
Tarnished. May I have a word?
Ooh, since she's here now, it's like spooky and there's like sex fog everywhere. You might be saying to yourself, Eli, that sounds like a terrible idea. It is. It is, in fact, a terrible idea, but I will explain. But first, let's take a gander at this lady. Also, yes, I have turned my HUD on permanently because it drives me absolutely batshit bonkers crazy. Alright, fine. It drives me crazy trying to see what's going on with my HUD, and it just not being there. I get myself damaged or killed constantly doing that. Alright, taking a good look at her. I will note that it kind of looks like she doesn't have legs. Maybe she does, but... Wait, she does. Also, looks like she's got a little something else for us, too. What do you think of that? Not really. Okay, she does have legs. They're just very, very, very stiff. Also, it looks like they aren't actually legs. Look at this. Hold on. Get a better angle. A little bit right here. Quiet. Notice that it looks like she doesn't actually have feet. They're more like a bundle of rope or something that is hanging by another knot that is attached to either like a porcelain or a stone leg. So maybe that's either some sort of bizarre magical prosthetic in some way, or maybe she's like artificial. Maybe she's some sort of puppet creature. Because you'll notice that also she has the same thing going on with her wrists on this side, but not right there. Her left arm seems to be more or less intact. You can't really tell with the other one. Also sounds like there's an angry man nearby, who better not bother me. That's one of the bad things about open world. Okay. But she is a pretty lady. Also, I will say that there seems to be an ongoing theme in this game of eyes, like sight, and also some sort of process of taking damage. Like one of the spells you actually cast from your eyes, and you can build up a meter that actually causes you to die if you use it too much, like consecutively. So there does seem to be something going on in that regard. Hat, very, very ornate. Seems to have something like growing almost in the inside of it, but it could be wrong. Looks like also very long braided hair? No, it actually seems to be wrapped around her like her neck. I hear the boss out there stomping around. Yeah, I think this is not part of her hair. It looks like it's just the a naturally woven like yeah, it just looks like one different kind of hair that's being used as a seam that's uniting the rest of this big bundle of fur that she's wearing. I'm not sure what that is, but you know. She's very interesting looking. She's probably my favorite character design in the game thus far, but I haven't seen that much. She's pretty cool. Message was pretty... Oh, right. I forgot I left one. Alright. Let's talk to her. See what's going on.
A pleasure to meet thee, Tarnished. I am the witch Renna.
Renna.
I'd heard tell of a Tarnished hurtling about atop a spectral steed. And upon looking into the matter...
Already?
The talk, I surmise, is of thee. Thou art possessed of the power, no? To call forth a spectral steed named Torrent.
Yeah. Yeah, he's mine. We're best friends. Known him for 5 minutes. And of course, I didn't mention it, but she does have 4 arms. If you somehow did not notice from me staring at it. There are several things, like items or statues in this game, and also, I think 1 or 2 people that I've seen that do have 4 arms. Maybe they are all, like, puppet things? I don't know. We will see. We will see. Or not.
I was entrusted this for thee.
Okay.
By Torrent's former master.
Have some shit. She uses, like, both of her right hands to give you this, which is kind of cute. Okay. So she gives you puppies, and she also gives you the bell. Now, puppies are nice. They're actually pretty okay. The 2 little imps that I started the game with, and I have no idea how you get these otherwise. I'm sure that you can somewhere. They're actually pretty good themselves. They're good at harassing, they like to throw bombs, and generally be pests. And they're fairly strong starting out.
'Tis a bell for calling forth spirits. Summon them with it. From ash and return to the Erdtree, the spirits will obey thine command but briefly. As they recall battles past, now it is thine, to do with as thou wishest.
Okay, so these guys actually, she says only briefly, which gives you the idea that you can summon them, but then they go away after a certain amount of time. No, as long as you are in the area where you summon them, they'll just stay there for the rest of eternity. Which I love. But if you leave the area, they start their HUD icon, and also they themselves will start to blink a little bit. And that's your indication that you're straying too far from the area. And if you move too far from, presumably, that area where a battle has occurred in the past, I guess is the logic, I'm not quite sure, then they will fade away. You can only summon some guys, you cannot summon sprints around. It's a shame that you can't summon them during multiplayer. Man, just wreaking that sort of havoc would be awesome. Okay, so you can talk to her one more time, and then after that she vanishes, so we'll take one last, like, little look. There's not too much to see on the rear, though, because she is sitting down. I wish you was there, but we can't actually see anything besides the big old cape of hair that she's wearing. And we've already looked at about as much as we can see. Now, I'm not trying to be pervy, but this is like the only time that we will be able to see this sort of thing. Bottom of her heels. And it kind of looks like she does have that sort of a Guinevere sort of thing going on, where she's just like floating legs. Although it could be her butt, who knows. But she does, it does look like up there, somewhere, where the skies are, it does look like around her thighs, she does have that same sort of weird, like, binding cartilage, I guess. Artificial cartilage, I guess is the only way I can describe it. So even all the way up to where her torso is, she's still a bound creature.
Forgive mine intrusion, Tarnished. I doubt we shall again meet.
Aw.
But all the same, learn well the lands between. How long will it be, I wonder, before the Tarnished tire of obeisance to the two fingers?
So long, girlfriend. I mean, did you think she, what was her name again? I can't remember. Finna or something? I don't remember. Anyways, that was my girlfriend, whatever her name was. Alright. Now, she does sort of hint at this, like Miyazaki loves doing this, but she does sort of hint at this idea that the relationship between Tarnished and the Two Fingers is not a healthy one, and that we are being used in some capacity. To what end and why we should reject it, I don't know. And what she plays, like what role she plays in that, I also don't know. But we'll find out one day. Although, by this rate, it's going to be a long time. Okay, so that is complete. The first thing that I'm going to do... Oh boy, there's so much to do, actually. But one of the first things I'm going to do is just run around and try to mark as many things on the map as I possibly can. So... Oh, right. These little guys. I think those are called Scarabs, I think? I think this guy won't actually give me anything besides... Whoop. Forgot I don't have anything. Get off. See what I mean about my HUD? Oh my god. Okay, Teardrop Scarabs. It's kind of hard to see which is which. The red ones... I need to turn on my HUD again. Oops. On. The red ones give you back 1 flask of Crimson Tears. I actually don't think there are blue ones, but there's ones that sort of look like a light white, and those, I think, are the ones that give you back mana. Or if there's blue ones, I haven't seen them. And there are ones that are, like, really glowing white. And those are the ones that will give you, like, Arts of War and crud like that. And then there's, like, 1 or 2 other ones, I think. There's one that explodes and kills you whenever you're, like, 5 feet from a bonfire, which is just super cool. And I actually saw it and knew what I was going to do, but I didn't have time to roll away because you're not given enough time, because Miyazaki is a dickwad sometimes. Alright. Alright, first thing we actually need to do is figure out where the hell the map marker is. It should... I can't remember where the map marker is in this one. But I may as well get this treasure chest while we're thinking about it. And actually show off our little friends, little horrible gremlin friends. Go get 'em, boys. A lot of you probably have never actually seen these guys. Just because everyone starts with the wolves. And apparently not many people actually start with these guys as their starting gifts. But they're fairly effective. They're also just horrible to behold. Later on, we will encounter the actual enemies these guys are based off of, and they are fucking annoying. Kind of hate them, actually. Okay. Let's see. Where was the map? Where is the map? Where is the map? Where is the map? Actually, give me a second. I know a way of actually dealing with this problem. Actually, may not even be right around here. Maybe because I'm like locked from doing it at this point. I can't quite remember. There's a number of things that I don't want to stay locked at the tutorial area for too long. But my main goal in doing this, in trying to just instantly go do things, is, if you remember, one of my main loves about Dark Souls 1 was the fact that at the very start you can... At the start you can do pretty much whatever you want to. As long as you have the Master Key. There are some places and some items that you can't get, but for the most part it's fairly open. Hello there. You'll be finding a lot of these just wandering around. Now, for the time being, I'm not going to be stopping and looking at every little thing. There's time for that. But I mainly just wanted to showcase that it is possible to just immediately just take off and go running. And it's really not that big of a deal. Although it is exceedingly dangerous. So I do have to concentrate in some regards. But the thing I actually wanted to do was go find the maps to all these areas first. Although I can't quite remember where the map was in this area. I'm pretty sure it's not actually on this portion of the map. I forgot that the game actually blocks things off, this weird rectangle, to try to mislead you into believing that this was the entirety of the game. But I think it's actually in... I can't remember its name, but this sort of more... Whoa. Also, the camera in this game is kind of wonky. I'm going to have a number of bad things to say about the game, but most of them will be good things to say about the game. Game, come on. The game actually, like, lagged out. There we go. Alright, what's to know if you could use Ash's Ward, grant your armors new skills inside of Grace. So, this gave us a new Ash of War. So now you use Ash's Ward, grant new sides of Grace. You need a whetstone knife of a specific type to be able to give yourself scaling of that type. So it's sort of behaving the same way that Embers did in the prior games. Where before you took an Ember to a blacksmith and then you could like put whatever onto it. In this one, the Ashes of War system, it's a better system. Still has its flaws. You can just take the Ash of War and just put it onto whatever weapon you want to, and it's free, which is the best part. Like, I was really concerned at the time that they were going to... Also, since it's night, we have to deal with this asshole. You fucking dick. It's a much better system. You can just freely interchange them at will. I was really concerned that it was going to have some sort of astronomical cost, because historically FromSoft games have been sort of anal retentive about the idea of your choice matters, you personalize your guy. So any single time that you would do anything of note, then it would just lock you into that. So one of the reasons why I was so paranoid in the character creator was you can make the wrong decision and fuck up your game before you even start the game. Hello there. I don't think I've ever seen one flying. I'm gonna have to start the attack early. Oh. Or he'll just give up. There we go. And it gave us that back. Alright, good. This I don't want it. Alright, there's the waypoint runes. Let's see if I can remember this. No, I think we need the... No, I definitely need to go over there at some point. Now, if you can't tell, this is... Since this game map is so enormous, you will absolutely need to be using, like, cross-referencing against another map. Otherwise, you'll just be wandering for the rest of eternity. Especially if you're trying to get through this game in an expedient manner. Usually, if you can't find a way of getting down to a place, there's usually these things that have giant gravestones. Whose purpose I still don't know. And usually, they include those as a way of getting down. You can't use them to get back up, though. They're too unevenly spaced. It is interesting, though, that these things look like... They not only stick out... But they almost look like they're folded into the walls themselves and have been, like, broken and reformed. Why? I don't know. This is why it would be better if this game was, like, years old. Like, if I ever played this game again, like for another LP, getting ahead of ourselves, but you know. If I ever played it again... There we go. That's what I want right there. Anytime you see one of these little bitty markers, that's where the map is going to be. If you didn't know. Also, I saw you. Ever so often little skulls will appear that have runes in them for some reason. Also, this part of the map has big rune bears, and they are none too happy to see you. Also, rune bears suck. There's a boss later that is just a big bear, and it's probably one of the worst bosses that the series, you know, Souls and everything, have ever had. He's a big shithead. And whenever I get there, I'm going to leave him a bad message about how he should use one of those pokey things in the middle to go fuck himself. Look, he's here! Look! It's my glowy owl friend. I told you that they could spawn with glowy eyes. Didn't expect to find one here. What if I could quickly leave a message? Hey, this is important. This is the content that you're subscribing for. I left one that was identical to this. Let's see. What would be sufficient? Stay calm. People. Friends. This. Actually, hold on. Stay calm. Like this. Stay calm, friend. There we go. Always protect your owl friends. They're very important. I won't stipulate why, they just are. It's just nice that you can just chill out with some owls. It's pretty cool. Okay, now back to what I was doing. Look, it's very hard for me to concentrate on one thing. I don't have a temperature disorder or anything like that. Just I need this, okay? Alright, ground slam. I hear those are one of those fucking bears now. Fuck those things. But I want this. Map. Map found. And I'll pick this up to spite you, piece of shit. It's mine now. I don't think he noticed or cared, actually. Alright. So, that part of the map is complete. Although, you notice, that sound is me trying to open the map and not allowing me to do that. If you've ever wondered how come you can't open the map, it is because you are in danger, something is targeting you. And the game is basically trying to tell you that. So it still won't allow me to do that, which means something is still trying to chase me around. There we go, okay. Alright, so that's how we get that one. Where the hell was the... Maybe the map was inside of that area where I was fighting the soldiers. I completely forgot. because it looked like there was an icon there for it. Ah, well. Okay, but the next one I want to go for, actually is going to require me to start out up top anyway, so I'm going to have to go this way. Either way. I'm not going to go south just yet. I'm going to just try to barrel roll my way through as many of the areas as I possibly can. Yeah, there it is, there it is. Later on, once I'm sufficiently powerful enough... Ooh, slow down. As I did in my other playthrough, I may as well just get rid of this guy. He's going to be a problem. I was able to use at least one Godric soldier summon that I got somewhere that I can't remember. To go in here and just absolutely wreck shop and take on all these guys at the same time with little to no worry at the time. There we go. Now, the reason why I'm doing this specifically is because it's very difficult for me to make sense out of what I'm doing and where I've been and what I should be doing whenever I don't have access to a map. In a game like this, anyways. And in Dark Souls, I have my internal map. And there's only one place that you can go when you're in an area, and it's either forwards or backwards. Or sometimes a little bit down, a little bit up. You know, there's not too much of a concern about it. In this game, there's a lot going on. I guess I'll go this way. Actually, hold on. Nah. I'll just do it this way. So, you can actually get to the final area very, very rapidly. Although, to be able to get to the final... We're not going to be doing that, but... to get to the final area, you absolutely do have to beat a boss, I think. But I basically just want to show off how... By the way, lightning striking right there. Why exactly it's striking that one location, I don't know. But yes, this is a little sprint location where you can right into the air. And whenever you do that, you land safely no matter what, so not too much of a concern. Although, also these bats are just the fucking worst. I fucking hate those things. We're not going to be fighting the naughty giant men right now. That would be a pain in the butt. We're just going to proceed on. Because I would like to get the maps that are on this other side. And we'll be seeing some crazy shit while we're at it. Let's see. It seems like... Yeah, we'll have to take that road, go over here. And I think like a map is like over here, and then there was one like down here somewhere. Now, if you've ever complained in Souls games about the fact that you can just ignore the content and run past everything, well, I've got good news for you. This game has that in spades. Now, of course, as I said, one of the things I like the most about Dark Souls 1 is the fact that you could do all sorts of things very, very early on. Make sure I'm going the right... No, I'm not. No, I'm not. You can do all sorts of things very, very early on. Hello, guys. I noticed that there are, like, people being hung up for some reason. I don't know why. But... Gonna do it again? Well, you could hear it for a second, but they're screaming. Well, there they go again. They are screaming, they are not enjoying themselves, but they're not animated doing so. I'm using this because there's a waypoint here. Waypoint. A bonfire, that's what I meant. Unthinkable. Our hallowed resting place is violated. To refuse the Erdtree's call to return. To live within death. Sickening. So, there are also ghosts in this setting. They seem to be... I don't know, people that... I don't know if there are rules to it, exactly. But so far, the sense is that I've gotten is that they died in a way that was not comfortable for them. Not necessarily that they have unfinished business, just they're tethered to this world by some sort of trouble. Also note that he said that the Erd Tree calls to them whenever they die, so they're supposed to, like, return to it, as though the Erd Tree itself is the source of life. I did that just so I could have that. I don't think I'm going to be doing any catacombs on screen, because they're pretty much the same. And there's a lot of that in this game. Like, this is a very good game. It's very big.
Hello?
Whoop, forgot.
Can you hear me? Help me. I'm stuck.
May as well. Everyone's seen this, feels like by now.
Anyone?
Hello.
Oh, my stars. I'm so happy to see you.
This is his butt.
I am Alexander, also known as the Iron Fist. And as you can see, I'm stuck here. Please, can you help me out of this?
So this is Alexander. I will try to remember your name, but I probably won't. Just like I can't remember my own girlfriend's name. Actually, she can't be my girlfriend, because she's a manufactured person, right? Why? What does that say about you, right? Alexander. I can probably remember that because of Alexander Rashenko, Worf's disappointing son from Star Trek The Next Generation, that he never raised, unless it's convenient for him to say that he raised a son, in which case he did raise him. Worf has some problems.
Just give me a good smack from the rear with something nice and big. And I'll pop clean out, I'm sure.
Just let me unzip.
No, there's no need to fret. I'm very well trained. Give it your all, I say.
So if you're getting this impression, it's probably for a good reason. This guy reminds me a lot of Sigmire, or Sigward, as your mileage may vary on that one.
Ouch!
Dude, I'm in the middle. There we go. Okay. Or I didn't get a dragonfly head from that guy. Miyazaki does have this problem. I don't know if it's Miyazaki specifically, but you would assume since it's being written. He really has just character archetypes that he just goes through, and they're always the same general thing. And that is, as I mentioned in the past, a very Asian storytelling sort of thing, where you're just repeating the same story over and over and over again, and just iterating on details, iterating on what the designs are. But it's more or less just the same thing every time. I'm not a big fan of that, because I can sort of guess what this guy's plotline is going to end up being, just by virtue of him being so similar.
Well played, good sir. Well played. Though that mighty wallop of yours almost spelled the end of me.
Whenever I used a club, that actually took 2 hits.
I'm out now, and that's what counts. I thank you. And as a token of my appreciation, I'd like you to have this.
It's a rocky turd from my butthole. Now, you think I'm joking, but that might actually be what he's doing. Exalted Flesh. Let's take a look at that. Okay. Exalted Flesh. And the game even gives you, like, instructions on how to read details after he does this. Almost like it has something to say about it. Or maybe that's just because it's the first item like this we've gotten? I can't remember. A lump of animal flesh. Animal, not human. Pickled in a medicinal solution. Mixed with fiery spices. Temporarily boosts physical attack. Considered a delicacy in the Badlands. This invigorating repast was for the exclusive benefit of those who they deem heroes. So he may have been carrying this to eat it but he doesn't have a mouth. But he does have a lid. So he could, like, open himself up and put stuff in there. So maybe that's what he was doing? I don't know if this is something he was ingesting or if it was something that he was carrying around in a pouch. Let's hope that it was something that he was carrying around in a pouch. But you notice from his design, he's made up, like his arms are essentially just a bunch of granite or rocks or like almost sort of a cement. Whereas, of course, his actual construction is that of a pot. Looks like to be a fairly weathered pot, so he's not brand new. He's existed for a while, whatever he is exactly. And oddly enough, he has almost sort of an animalistic posture. Like his feet do look like they're humanoid, but he stands on his toes, which is more of an animal trait. I actually do that when I'm walking around the house, but that's because I'm such a beastly man. Also, it seems to be some sort of, like, a symptom of spectrum disorders of some sort, which couldn't be anything to do with me, no. Also, his lid, if this is indeed a lid, almost has sort of a stamp-like quality. It does sort of look like a stamp. I'm not suggesting it is. It just sort of looks that way to me. Of the Erd Tree. Of the symbol of the Erd Tree. That we're going to be seeing a lot. Whose symbol this is, I don't know.
Once again, pleasure is mine.
But for the time being, it's Saturday
I
Sanders.
am the warrior Jar known as Alexander. Iron Fist Alexander, in fact. I journey to the east, where I intend to further my education in the ways of war. And beyond these lands lie the scarlet, rot-blighted Caelid wilds. And upon their southern edge is Redmane Castle, in which a festival of combat is being held.
Wow.
I'd heard whispers of such festivities before. Doesn't the notion set your breast aflutter?
I think that's the game doing that. It kind of makes me worry about Bandicam. But I think that it really is just the game loading assets or like purging them and doing a very bad job of it. The publisher, Bandai Namco or Namco Bandai, Bamplo, Bamnai, or whatever their name is, has officially apologized for the quality of the PC release, because it does stutter and stammer a whole bunch. It's crashed for me a couple times, but nothing too major. Yeah, anyways. But yeah, this is Alexander. He was apparently built by someone for the purposes of combat, as vague as that is. But he has his own ambitions, and that is to be a champion in some way.
I'm heading eastward to Redmane Castle on the southern edge of the scarlet, rot-blighted Caelid wilds. I've heard there's to be a festival held there.
Now, ever since the shattering of the Elden Ring, whatever exactly that entails... Whoop. I like the phantoms and people just walloping him. Ever since the shattering of the Elden Ring, we don't get to see what the world was like before all that. But we're to assume that it was much better than it is now. But obviously, society, if there was a society, has sort of broken down. Important to grab these for multiplayer. Has sort of broken down over time. And by the time that we actually get over to the Caelid Wilds, I think is what he called it. And we'll just pass this pumpkin head guy up here. He's just really just having a blast. By the time that we get over there, we're going to see that it's not the most happening place. So the idea that there was going to be a festival held there, a little bit ridiculous. Also, you can double jump your puppy. This is a puppy. Alright, let's slow down here for a moment. Yes, we are going the right way. Because this is another area where we're going to run into another NPC. If I remember correctly. And it's going to be important to actually get a hold of him. Because that's how we're going to get to another part of the map. Although I think we'll have to beat a boss before we're able to do that. Where was he? I think we may have passed him. Maybe it only happens at night. Actually, there was also Here we are. Here we are.
There's no mistake, is there? Death has left its mark once again.
Now, who is this? Interesting. This guy is dressed in sort of generic clothing.
I'm sorry. I cannot give you your proper rights. But at least you did not join those who live in death. Your soul will return to the Erd Tree in time. Honeyed rays of gold, deliver this spirit.
So again, we have this sentiment that the Erd Tree is what basically recycles or reincarnates people in whatever capacity it does in this universe. And those that do not do that become ensnared by death and are undead in some way. Whether they are in fact skeletons or whatever he's going to tell us here in a second. But something else. But this guy, before we go looking at this other guy's armor, this guy dressed sort of normally, you know, just kind of burlap, sacky looking clothing. But he does have this sort of wreath around his neck. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. There could be some sort of significance to it, but there's no way for me to know that yet. Something to remember, at least. I thought at first he might be one of those merchants, and also we passed one of those merchants, but we don't have any runes to give him anyway, so... First, let's take a look at this dude. We don't know his name yet, we haven't talked to him. Extremely ornate armor. Although I'm not sure if he can actually move any of his arms besides his right one. Because he does have sort of this Lautrec the Embrace sort of thing going on. Which might make you think that he's going to end up being a betrayer of some sort. I don't know. I haven't got to that point yet. But he is embracing this other figure that is like embedded within his body. Because even his feet down here, you notice they are sort of like interlacing with one another. There's the silver version of this person, and then there's the gold version. The gold, I guess, is him, possibly. And the silver is this blindfolded person, who does seem to be like embracing him as he embraces her? Maybe another him, it's hard to tell. But they intermesh with one another. The silver one appears to be more, like, noble, because their clothing is more ornate, and it is just clothing, it's not armor. Although it does become armor down here. So maybe not. Also, like, bare toes, they're meant to look like toenails. Kind of creepy, probably smell, too. And the foot actually gets a little bit smaller right here, which is a bit unusual. It's not symmetrical, for whatever reason. Which is a nice touch. Looks pretty neat. What that actually means, I have absolutely no idea. There's no way for me to know any of that just yet. But that's why we're doing the playthrough, to find that answer out. I don't know, it could just be male, but it is blindfolded. And they both have the same sort of curly hair, which could be in some sort of indication of familial connection. The sword also has the same sort of deal going on, where it's an interweaving... It almost looks like a Fierce Deity Link's sword in a Majora's Mask. That's a pull. Yep. No other major detail on this that I can say, just like sort of generic ornate information. What about his cape? His cape is very ragged. It has a symbol on it, but it doesn't look like the Erd Tree symbol. I don't recognize it. It looks fairly generic. It doesn't look like it has 2 dragons that are interweaving, though. Actually, maybe more than that. I can make out the head right there on the right. And this one is symmetrical, okay. So it looks like they interweave at the top, and then they might interweave, their tails come down. Or they're wrapping around something, but I can't make out what's in the center. And they wrap back down towards the bottom. Could be anything, but something to bear in mind.
Ah, a tarnished, are you? I'm known as D. I hunt down those who live in death.
The will of D!
Death root. Heed my warning. The village here has been touched by death. And worse yet, it is home to a mariner. If you value your life, then go no further.
Alright, so a lot of D's in that, if you don't know. His name is D. He deals with death roots. He tries to vanquish those that are associated with death. And I think he may have said one other thing that had a D in it.
The village here has been touched by death. Turn back while you still can.
Alright, so that's all he has to say for now. This gives you a slightly better look. Clunk, 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 clunk. What? He's already dead. It doesn't matter. Clunk, 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 clunk. But yeah, it does sort of look as though his left arm cannot be used. It almost looks like it's fused into the face of that other one. Although that may not be the case. I have no idea. He might actually still have his other arm. Note that his sword arm is actually the silver person's arm. Whether that matters to you or not. What that will symbolize in the future, I don't know. We don't have the context enough for it yet. But it is something interesting to note, all the same. And I think I already tagged this. Yes, okay. I wanted to briefly point out, he said that this place has a mariner. Now you can see them down here. This is actually a boss fight that we're not going to get involved in. But they're called a mariner because they paddle around in a boat. Which is super cute. There's actually some items here, but we're not going to bother getting them just yet. There's actually, like something down there. There's actually a lot of things in this game that I'm going to have to get off screen. Like a lot of them. And I'm not quite sure how they go about doing that, because there's just so much going on in this game. Oh boy. Alright. We are on the right track. So this is the Karan Wildlands, is that what he called them? I've already forgotten. This is definitely one of those things, like, with me, I have a very bad memory, so I have to... There's a point over here. Here we are. And here's a church that is perpetually sort of on fire. Whoop. I don't know how to describe this. It looks like it's meant to be on fire, but there's no fire. There is, like, fire in this world, so that's not like a weird thing or anything like that. Cookbook? Cookbook. So 2 people that were cooking... I guess that's like a joke on their part. 2 people that were cooking, now, I guess, being cooked alive. Or were cooked alive. Don't quite know. But yeah, these places that are meant to look like they're on fire are not really on fire. They're just sort of glowing with something and emitting these weird, sort of otherworldly looking embers. What that signifies, I don't know yet. But again, something to note. Because up here we have essentially the same thing. There is a wall up here that also has the same effect applied to it. Nothing happens to you if you touch it. It's just sort of like this for some reason. Now, why is that the case? I don't know. Now, we did get... I may as well grab this. we did get a couple of those cookbooks, so we can take a look at those. The cookbooks are things that help you manufacture ingredients. Nascent butterfly. Let's talk to this guy first. It's rotting. Everything rotting scarlet. This entire land, in other words. The very earth that Caelid rests upon, and Celia, town of sorcery. The end is nigh for us all. So something called scarlet rot is what is causing whatever has happened to this land. Also note the giant fucking crow. Also note the intense drop in frames as the game tries to load things. So these things are assholes. They will try to maul you if given the chance. They're not nice. I don't like them. But first, let's try them find these cookbooks that we were so graciously given. I guess we could also... sliver meat, thinly carved beast flesh, materials for crafting. A lot of these are generic. Found by hunting herbivorous meat. Meat suitable for a rustic feast, lump of flesh. It doesn't look suitable. It looks really nasty. I'll be frank. It says, lump of beef for rich juices. Budding horn, a rarely seen specimen of young budding horn. Found by hunting herbivorous beasts. This horn began to sprout on a beast that typically bears no horn. Interesting. Perhaps this is a vestige of the primordial crucible. So this is sort of important, it sounds like. Horns beginning to sprout on a beast that typically bears no horn. And it is a vestige of a primordial... why do I keep doing primordial? Primordial crucible. What that means, I don't know. Blood-bright feathers, crown guns, foretold foul spirits. This is the thing I was talking about. In the lands between having 3 digits seen as a bad omen. As such, the four-toed fowl's foot is a gift of great luck indeed. Use these to increase your drop rate, although they're kind of rare, so you can't rely on them. Okay, this is the thing we just picked up, Nascent Butterfly, an arcane butterfly with translucent wings, material used for crafting items. Exceedingly rare to find, this butterfly appears as if it's just emerged from its cocoon for its entire life. Hold on. Yeah. Noise outside started getting intense. An arcane butterfly, so like a magical butterfly, in some way. Although arcane doesn't necessarily mean magical, but the way that it works in this game, it sort of is magical. It raises your luck and does interface with some spells and some weapons. This butterfly appears as if it's just emerged from its cocoon for its entire life. The way that that's phrased is kind of awkward in English. It appears as if it's just emerged from... That makes it sound as though either its period of being in a cocoon was its entire life, or it's emerging for the rest of it, like, for a very long life ahead of it. I guess it doesn't matter either way. Someone's poop. It's just shit. It has a golden tinge. Often hidden in woods and thickets. Hidden? Really? It makes it sound like someone... like they ran to the woods to take a gigantic golden shit because they don't want anyone to know about it. Oh man, I gotta take another golden shit. I can't let people find out about my golden shits. Because that's... that's where I'm putting all my Roth IRAs. Gold tinge excrement is a highly stable substance. I hope so. It's fucking shit. It doesn't dry out, nor does it lose its customary warmth or scent. So when it shows up, that's the way it's staying. For better or worse, it remains as it is. You know what? You know, good for you, gold-tinged excrement. You know, for a lot of people, things just get worse, or maybe sometimes it gets better. This thing, No, just, it is what it is, and that's the way it's gonna stay. Just like us, right? Like, you may not be the greatest person, you might not be the best person or the worst person, but you are who you are, and it completely accepts that. Who among us can say the same? So, row of fruit, I think, is what you use to feed Torrent. To heal him, we won't be healing him very much because it's sort of awkward to do, and it doesn't climb up that much. Arteria leaf. Dark red leaves with thick, swollen veins. We already read this, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, this is pretty gross. Faint pulse can be veins. It does make it sound like a lot of things in this setting are alive in some capacity. Mushroom. Or alive. You know, they're... Obviously, plants are alive, but they are... Like, the distinction between different forms of life is something that is losing its cohesion over time. And, it probably has something to do with the Elden Ring and the Erd Tree and so forth and so on. His thick, spongy spikes makes it keep on throwing pots. Erd leaf flower. Said to be fed by leaves that fell from the Erd Tree in days of antiquity. I have noticed that sometimes your item discovery will go up if like the little glowing blossoms or whatever they are that are falling from Erd trees are falling around you, which is unusual. So something arcane is related to the Erd trees because arcane equals item discovery. Faded Erd tree flower has a faded to pale scarlet found blooming in rotten lands, like we're in now. Said to be fed by leaves that fell from the Erd tree in days of antiquity. Said to be fed by leaves. Same thing. Said to be fed. The flowers are being fed by leaves. Like they fell from the Erd tree in days of antiquity. That makes it sound as though... I don't know, that makes it sound as though... Like, this flower did not bloom from Erd trees. Because you could say that a flower is fed by leaves, because that's what plants do. They gather energy via their leaves and then supply them into their fruit, or whatever, is distributing more of them. But this kind of makes it clear that the two are not actually related. So as though the leaves fell off the Erd tree, and then whatever power remained in them is what caused these things to form. So is there a specific plant species that does this, or is it just a natural result of the trees lying on the ground? I don't know. Well, actually, hold on. There's like one more down here. Root resin secreted from the roots of the great tree. So not Erd tree, but just great tree. Maybe they are one and the same, because I remember you can find these things in caves quite a bit. Can also be found near trees on the surface, yeah. The roots of the great tree were once linked to those of the Erd tree, so they are two different things. Or so they say. And it is for this reason catacombs are built around great tree roots. So the reason why there's so many catacombs is not to store the dead necessarily, although that's what they do. But it's also to get near the great root, tree roots. There are two main enemies that I've actually encountered in catacombs, and I will have to like do a couple catacombs just to show you this. Let's get back on the road. Whoa, not that road. And they are skeletons, and like my summon, these guys that I can't summon right now, two little friendly golem guys. Wow, there's a lot of them. Hey guys, how's it going? No, let's not walk over here. You don't see anything. Goodness, is a Michael Jackson video breaking out? But those guys that sort of look like they're made out of stone, like they're statues or something, and that have come alive. I don't know if that's the case, they just kind of look that way. Those are the other ones that are down there. These guys are slow, sort of zombie-like, and they will grab you. They will touch-all you and give you kisses that you don't much care to have. Now, of course, I can't open my map. Also notice these horrible, horrible abominations. These look like, to me, giant rats. See if I can get this thing. Shit. Do it. Oh, Whirlo Flame. So yeah, these things look like big T-Rex things, but they used to be rats. This is what they look like to me, anyways. Because they're... Move! Jesus Christ. Their arms have sort of become limp, and they look like they're kind of useless. But boy, they have some developed mouths. Let's leave this place, though. Because I don't much care for him. And again, this is an area that you're really not supposed to be in right now. But I am. Because I wish it. Now, if you can't tell, this is a big world. Even though I've gone quite a considerable distance already. This is probably... we haven't even covered like 5% of the world so far. The thing I actually need to do now is figure out where the hell the map was. I'm looking for that... Wait, no, we already have the map here. Here's the map over here. Although, that might be the one that we have to warp to. Oh, I may have picked it up inadvertently. Maybe that's what happened. No, there's more. No, this is the next one. It's just that the map isn't finished expanding. Yeah, it's been a while since I've thought about this. I've been playing this because of the fact that I was having to render the LP like 10 or something times in a row. I eventually got tired of waiting and decided, you know what, I'm just going to play the game on my other character. So I ended up... What the fuck is this? Rain? It almost looked like snow for a split second. Yeah, this is rain. I wouldn't expect it to rain here. But then again, it's not a desert. It's just rotted with scarlet blight. Now, I could sit here and talk about what the fuck these things are ad nauseum, but we don't have the context for it yet, and we're just focusing on trying to run around as much as possible. Because one of the other reasons why I'm doing this is because there is a farming spot that I will be using to gain runes. And I'm going to be doing that specifically. Let me just be lazy, get rid of it. No, come on, over here. There we go. Got it. Fucking did it. Alright. And then the other one is like down here somewhere, I think. And it's gonna take some doing to get down there. I might die in the process. I haven't died yet. It is pretty easy to die in this game, though. Not that way. Let's go this way. Because I'm going to need a lot of runes. And I'm going to need a lot of runes because there's going to be a lot of merchant items that I want to buy. Because I'm just like that. I need to collect everything. I need to have everything. If I have something, I'm going to buy it. So to that end, I'm going to need a pretty efficient way of actually gathering runes. And although this game is very good in many respects, it does have some weird scaling issues, and part of that is like a very slow income. Whoa, I've never seen this. That's a big one. Woo, he fought back. Do it. Will that count? It will not. Okay. I don't think he would have dropped anything in. He was gold. I forget what gold is. But it is not... here's one of those horrible arena things. Gold is not Art of War, or whatever. Okay. This is something that I do like about this game. Ooh, okay. This is something I like about this game. That you can get anywhere fairly early. But it's still dangerous. You do have to concentrate. Like, you can't just walk there. It's not easy, but it's not so difficult that it becomes impossible. And it also isn't like the other Souls games where you can... you know, like an MMO is probably a better example of this. Where there are areas that you can get to, but there's enemies that deal gigantic amounts of damage. So it just becomes a matter of just, like, brute forcing it, just trying to get through over and over and over and over again. Until eventually one of those times you just so happen to, you know, not take the right amount of RNG damage that you can get through unaccosted.
Yes, right this way. Right this way.
So this guy actually calls from you from a distance, which most of them do not. And notice his dog is very slightly different. Because he also is very slightly different. He wears the same exact garb, he has the exact same things, has the same back scratcher. But he is no longer Santa Claus. He Krampus.
Welcome, dear customer. Yes, right this way. Right this way.
Indeed.
Welcome, valued customer. Come, trade in our wandering emporium. Please, buy something. I'm hungry. I've been hungry so long. Please?
Alright, so this guy's personality is that he's down on his luck because he's trying to be a merchant out here in the Caden Wilds, I think. And Scarlet Rot has left him a bit barren in terms of customers. And as you can see, he actually doesn't sell too much of value, unfortunately. Some of these are kind of useful. He mainly sells things that do afflict poison, which is very, very fitting. Yeah, unfortunately I don't have anything, I don't even have any runes to give him. But I will remember your location. Don't die on me, buddy. He can't die. He'll be fine. Okay, let's plot my course. See, there it is. Down there. Once you get just close enough, you can make it out. But it's not a matter of just aiming yourself in that direction and going. Because boy howdy, there's a lot of things along the way that do not care for you being alive. So, as far as my build goes, that sounded some weird plants casting magic at me, which I don't much care for. As far as my build goes, I was really looking forward to trying arcane abilities. Because there's a couple of them that do sound really interesting. And also, a couple of the occult abilities also look interesting. So I thought, some people have said that actually they have been able to get away with evening out their stats, which has always been a problem in FromSoft games. There we go. Now that's completely mapped. Excellent, excellent. Alright, that is completely done, so we no longer have to be here. But I'll talk to our little buddy over here, just for the hell of it.
Buying or selling?
Now his clothing is a bit more black. It's just straight up black, whereas the other guy was kind of silver or gray. This guy actually does sell some, especially want that great helm. I do love me a nice great helm. And he sells this the hero set, that you could have started the game with. I'm not quite sure what these notes do. They might just be lore entries. I'm not quite sure, but I will need those as well. But again, I'm just showing you the things that I'm going to be buying probably off screen. Although I won't be doing that in the next part, because the next part... Actually, I probably should stop this one fairly soon. The next part will be pretty much just this session, I imagine. So the next thing I'll want to do... I'll save south for later. As I actually want to try to go here. Because that'll take us all the way north. And things are going to get pretty crazy once we start doing that. Some of you may not have even been to location yet. So you can just have this... We came right back to where we started. Just like a good narrative. You can just... If you don't want to get spoiled on like visuals, then I guess you can like cover your eyes and look away. The reason why I'm going up here is because specifically that's where the Lucerne is. And I really want to get a hold of that because me and Lucy have a history. And also just to be able to have it mapped out. That's one of the things I do in games like this. Anytime that there's the ability to map things out, I want it mapped out right then. Because I can... God damn it. I shouldn't have peeked. Now I'm going to have to go edit that out later. Anyways. That's what we're going to be doing in the next part, probably. I will probably be done in the next part. But I also will have to go down and kill that little boater guy. The motorboat boy. The motorboat ghost. And after we kill the motorboat ghost, then we'll have access to some other things, and then we'll proceed from there. And once we have like access to all the things that I need to be able to get things going offline, then I can start arduously crawling through portions of the game that I deem important for actually evaluating by sight. Because if you can't tell, as we've gone through this area, there are very specific locations that do merit like going over them with a fine-tooth comb. Most places, though, are just generic. It's just like vast stretches of open land. And ever so often there will be a landmark, but usually it's just nothing, as far as the eye can see. Which is sort of a criticism of this game, but it's not that bad. It could have been like Breath of the Wild, where they just fill everything with Korok seeds, which I am... Boy, am I glad they didn't do that. That would have just... Ugh, that would have been the worst. Okay, but anyways, we'll be doing that next time. So for the time being, let's say goodbye. Say goodbye, me.
Hey!
Yes, they say words now, for some reason. And we'll leave it at there. Because upcoming, we'll be going north, and we'll take care of things then. And I won't be waiting for comments to tell me not to do that because they don't want their experience ruined or whatever else. I'm going to do it! You got something! Alright, see you guys next time. Bye-bye.